Greetings, Science. This is Luandile here, the leader and the instructor of Manikwe School. In case you don't know why I'm calling you Science, it's because I'm really into Dragon Balls, and what I've discovered is, you see, on this path of programming, it's actually a journey, a long one, and I even thought of myself as a warrior, and that's the only way that made me, in fact, that's the main way that made me end up obtaining my degree when I was still a student. I mean, the whole programming thing, it felt like a war to me, right? I felt like I'm a warrior. So that's why I consider myself as a Saiyan. So that's why I'm also calling you guys Saiyans. Anyways, let's jump on to what we're here to do today. Today we're actually doing exercise 2.15. In case you did not know from which textbook, this is the textbook we're using, and we're not using the very latest edition. However, even if you watch this video a decade from now, I bet you're still going to find 90% of it. I mean, even if you're watching this channel like in a decade from now, I bet you're still gonna find this stuff productive. Because you see, there are certain things that won't change when it comes to programming, like how does loops work, and many other things. It doesn't matter if you watch this tutorial in 2030, but most of the stuff you're still gonna find useful. Okay, now let's jump on to the question, which is on this page here. We actually doing exercise 2.15, so let's read it through now. So it's a geometry problem, a distance of 2 points problem. Okay, so we gotta write a program that prompts the user to enter 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and displays their distance between them. The formula for computing the distance is that. Note that you can use math.pow a to the exponent of half to compute the square roots of a. So here is a sample run. Okay. You see, I've said it before. It is really recommended that you also take mathematics class if you do programming. However, if you are self-taught and you're not going to any college or university, again, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to feel like you're not worthy. I mean, you can still go far with programming without knowing too much of math, but the essentials of math would be advantageous to you, right? If you also do programming, of which I know you do, by the way, otherwise you wouldn't have watched this video. Okay, so we're doing exercise 2.15, and we will simply pick our location for our project now. This is our location right here, and then we create a class. We will simply call it exercise underscore 2 underscore 15 A. And then we hit this checkbox. So, I mean, every time, you guys, when it comes to programming, you gotta, before jumping into before jumping in to your IDE, you gotta sit down first and then try to work out the problem. Once you understand the logic behind it, you then go to your IDE and start coding. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your time and energy trying to do something that you don't quite understand, right? Because it is the understanding part of a problem that matters the most. Okay, before we start coding though, I want to copy and paste this URL first. This is the site you would find this textbook we're working on, if you haven't yet, of course. So now it is time to get our hands dirty with the coding part. Okay, so what is it you want to do? Of course, since we want to read, let's call it reader, since we want to read from the keyboard, we definitely are going to need a scanner. System.in reader.close. Okay, let's prompt the user to enter this coordinate system.out.print. Enter x1 and y1. So we just go double x1. We'll simply go reader dot next double dot next double y1 is equal to reader dot next double. Now we have our first point. How about our second point? Let's read it. Now enter x2 and y2. Double x2. In such cases, of course, you can copy and paste. What I don't recommend you copy is a logic of your code, because you definitely, because you might make a mistake, maybe with your variables or with your computation. But if it's something like a reader.next double, you can of course copy that, because it won't affect your output at the end of the day. Okay, now that we've got our 2 points, we need to do the computation itself. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a variable to create what is actually inside the square root. So we're going to have a variable that will hold x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. Basically what is, we'll hold this var, let me just go vari, because I don't want you guys to confuse it with the var keyword on JavaScript, for instance. Let me just call it within square root variable, within square root. So it's going to be, it's y2 minus y1, right? So it's going to be math.pow y2 minus y1 it's x2 minus x1, actually x2 minus x1, we wanna square that, and then we add. This is what is wrong. See what I'm doing right now, I am copying and pasting something that is logical, because now what I want to do is to replace x with y. So the question is, what if I forgot putting a y here and leave it as x? Wouldn't that affect my logic or final output rather? Of course it will. So that's why I always tell you guys not to copy and paste, just keep typing. It's a good practice, right? Okay, so this is what we have inside brackets. And finally, what we're going to have is our distance, which will simply be we can do this in two ways, but this is what I'll simply do. .pow remember they told us that math.pow of a to the exponent of half is actually equal to square root of a. So in this case our a is within square root to the exponent of half, which is 0.5. That's like saying the square root of this thing. What we'll then do, we'll display the distance. stem.out.print. We'll simply use print and go the distance between 2 points is distance. Let's hit the run button and see what we get. Let's try to put these two for our first point, and our second point will simply be 4 is to 5. 4 is to 5. Seems like we nailed it. So that should be it for this video, you guys. If you think you know what we could have done here, let me know down below in the comments. If you think, what is it we should have done? Of course, by that I mean, what's the alternative? Basically, that's my question. If you think you do know the alternative for this line here, let me know on the comment below. And if you haven't yet subscribed on my channel, please do so. I would really appreciate it. So that's pretty much it for this video. Take care, you guys. I'm gone. Cheers.